Morning. Morning. Good morning. It's Friday, March 28th, 2025. I'm Larissa. This is my video diary. This is my wild rock and roll hair. Time has come. Drink from skulls. Oh my god. Oh my god. I was sleeping like hardcore when Omar came in and brought the tea. Like, I was hardcore sleeping. Sleeping more hardcore than I do in the middle of the night. He just snores so much. And when he rolls over, like, he doesn't make any effort to, like, do so subtly, right? Like, when I turn over, I try to, make as little, few waves on the bed as possible, Like, he pulls covers, and tugs, and flops, and makes noises. Oh. So once he gets up, after his alarm goes off and he gets up, that's when I fall asleep deep. Yeah. Oh, I had a crazy dream last night. Oh, it was a wild dream. I dreamed I was walking with my dad through the snow. And we were in this like big plaza. There was all this snow on the ground. It was soft and fluffy snow. And I had on this crazy dress. And I was wearing these waterproof socks. Yeah, these waterproof socks. I wasn't really wearing shoes. I had on these like tights and these waterproof socks, and I'm walking through the snow. The snow wasn't cold, and we're talking, and I'm telling him about these socks. I got these socks on, Dad. And he's like, "Where are your shoes?" And I'm like, "I got these socks, these waterproof socks." And my youngest sister shows up, and she's like, let her have it, Dad. Let her have it. And my dad's like, gets all shitty with me. And we're in this, and then like we turn down the one side of the plaza and end up in this alley. And there's this big open like wall. This wall has a big opening in it, and there's this furnace in there, like a foundry, right? It looked like the foundry at CCS. Is what it looked like. It looked like a foundry. And I said, I said, what are you gonna do? You gonna shoot me? He's like, yeah, I'm gonna shoot you. And he pulls out this like leaf blower. Right? First it looks like a machine gun, and then it's a leaf blower. And he turns it on, and it's like blowing me down this alleyway, and I'm like flying through the air. My dress is getting all torn, and then he stops, and I'm like down at the end of the alley. There's like a block party going on, and I stand up, and my dress is like all in tatters, and I'm yelling at him, and he hands me this camera, and he's like, "Here," he's like, I got it all on camera." And I take the camera and I smash it, and he's like, "Ow, what are you got smashing my camera?" And he starts like screaming at me about smashing his camera. Weird fucking dream. I haven't spoken to my father in like 5 years. Or my sister. Or like any of my family. Oh, I don't know. I go back and forth about it, but like last time I talked to my dad, it was after the last funeral, and I don't know what to do about like what he said to me. Like, I tried to bring up what happened, and his recollection of events is nothing like mine, and I don't know why. Um, they were all drunk when I got there. after the funeral. They were all at my uncle's house and they were all drunk. I had one sip of wine before all of this went down. But they were all drunk. I mean, uh, what was it that Eric was drinking? Was he drinking Maker's Mark or Crown or something? But it was his bottle. Like, it's what he was having. And they had like a case of wine where the bottles were all like almost empty, and they were sitting out there, and I mean, like, they were all skunked. I mean, already. And um, my aunt, like, they were playing dice. They were throwing dice at this table at my uncle's kitchen table or something. It was so weird. It was so fucking weird. And they're like, "Oh, do you want to play?" I'm like, "No, there's no place for me to sit." I'll just watch. And my aunt's like, "Oh, you want a glass of wine?" And I said, "Oh, I looked at what you had out there on the table." I said, "I'm not." I said, "I don't think." Um, I said, "I think I'm okay." And my uncle Mark said, "Here, try this. This is what I'm drinking." He grabbed this bottle. It was rosé, and I said, "Oh, I usually like rosés." It was super sweet. It was like, I don't know what the hell it was. It was like strawberry wine sweet. I was like, "Ooh, no." I said, "It's okay. I don't really like that." And my aunt was like, "Oh, well, maybe you'll like this one." And she grabbed another. She's like, "Oh, I got this one last time we went to New York, and it was a white of some sort. I don't know what it was, but it was okay. It was okay." She poured me a glass. I'm like, "Oh, that's okay. I'll drink that. I can drink, you know." But I wasn't going to drink anything. And I went over to sit down on the couch with my uncle David, who was watching basketball. I can't remember who Ben Simmons was playing for at the time, but Ben Simmons was on the TV in there, and he and I were talking about the salt that I had made for Christmas, and I'd made a bunch of different flavored salts. And the one I was telling him about this pink Bolivian salt. I was telling him that I thought they were building reactors down in Bolivia because of the salt that was down there, and that's why we were all of a sudden seeing all this Bolivian salt on the market. And my dad came over and sat down, and then I was talking to my uncle about, oh, this guy Matt Gagliardi was telling me once he'd been in seminary, and he was saying, oh yeah, he's like, oh, the Swiss Guard. We were talking. He and I had been talking about how the Swiss Guard, guards the Pope. Blah blah blah. Everybody knows that. And it's like, yeah, Switzerland actually has a big cache of guns, a big cache of weapons for the Swiss Guard. And I was telling my Uncle David about this, and then my Uncle Dave and my dad was like weird, and I don't know, the whole thing was strange. But I had only taken one sip of wine. My glass was sitting on the table, on the coffee table in front of me. I wasn't drunk. I wasn't on anything. They were all like skunked. I don't know what the hell was going on. But then, um, my Uncle David says, "Don't believe everything everyone tells you." I said, "Oh no." I said, "This guy's a pretty reliable source, you know." Um, and then Eric comes over, and he starts talking smack about my Uncle Mark's house. My Uncle Mark's house is in perpetual construction. Like, he's been working on it for years and years and years. And like, their living room isn't finished inside. Anyway, he's always talking about, I'm going to do this here, do that there, knock out this wall. It's like, I don't know, it's like the Winchester Mystery House kind of thing, except it's not that big. And Eric and Amanda are living with my uncle, and they're not paying rent or anything. And Eric had lost his job, and they'd been living there now for a while, and they'd gone through this thing with this baby that died. And anyway, he comes over and he's talking smack about Mark and his house. And I started to say something. I said, Eric, and I was going to say, you're not paying the bills here. You don't, what you're saying is pretty fucking rude. Whether you get along with my uncle or not, like, as a person, what you're living in his house. And before I could finish, my dad cut in. He says, yeah, if it were up to me, I'd make you wish you were dead. Well, when my dad said that, I was angry because it's a horrible feeling to wish you were dead. I know the feeling well. And he's made me feel that way many times in my life. Yeah. My dad thought it was funny. And that made me angry. And so I was like, and as soon as I said, he got up and ran away. And I went to try to find him, and I was shaking my finger while I was talking like this. And my Aunt Roseanne attacked me. She comes running out of the kitchen. She goes, "I'm gonna call the police, Larissa." And so she's saying to me, and she's like grabbing me. She's like, "My mother just died." She's screaming this at me. And I'm like, I did not pick this fight, you know? And she's like grabbing at me, and she clawed me up. I had cuts from her clawing at my hands. She was like grabbing me, and I'm trying to pull away. I'm like, why are you touching me? Why are you touching me at all? And then my dad comes back. He'd been hiding behind a little wall in the kitchen. He comes back and he like grabs me like in this bear hug, and he's like, "You need to calm down." And they're screaming at me. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Bit my father. I bit him. That's how I got away from him. And that's the last time I see my family. They were all fucking drunk as hell. And then when I tried to confront him about this and talk to him about this over the phone, he's telling me, "You were swinging at people." I'm like, what are you talking about? Never swinging at anyone. Jeez. I'm like, you're making shit up. And he's like, "You don't even know you're doing it." I'm like, what are you talking about? So I said, "That's why I can't be around you. It is not safe for me around you." I said, "You lie." And that was the last time I saw my father. Or spoke to him. Saw him and then spoke the last time I spoke to him. That was like a couple weeks after the funeral. Yeah. So now I don't want to be around any of them. I wrote my aunt a letter. She sent me a card, and I wrote her a letter back. I said, "I don't know who you think you are, but I am far too old for you to be laying hands on me as if I'm a child." I haven't heard anything from her since. I'm like, don't ever touch me again like that. I did. I had chunks of skin pulled out of my hands from her. Oh my God. It was a really, really upsetting experience. After my grandmother's funeral, I cried. Not because she was dead, but just for all of the years, because there was such bad blood between our families for so long. And I was the one when I was like 17 years old who reconciled the families. And there was a lot of stuff that happened that was just like never talked about. And things that were done to me, right? In the back and forth between the two. And then when I cried after the funeral, like everybody told me I was acting crazy because I was crying. But it was just like, it was just it was an emotional release, and I wasn't, like flailing about or anything. And like I said, it wasn't because I was sad. I was happy for my grandmother to pass. She had been in so much discomfort for so long, really and truly. And I was happy for her, you know. Hey, you. Hey, sir. Oh my God, look at all the sticks in your tail. Yeah, no, I was happy for her when she died. I mean, she wasn't young, she was old. And she'd been paralyzed in that body, unable to speak, with a fucking colostomy bag, with people talking to her like she was an infant And she wasn't. She was there. Like, she was there with it. Oh, she just couldn't communicate. She was trapped in that body for over 12 years. Oh my God. I was so happy for her when she finally died. It was such a fucking relief to know that she wasn't suffering anymore. Yeah. Yeah, and then that's how they treated me. That was such an awful experience. Oh my God. That dream last night was weird. So yesterday I opened the gallery for a while. Nobody came in. It was so weird. Like, oh, the weather was so weird yesterday. I mean, it's been raining off and on here for a couple days now. But like when I got down to the gallery first, I cleaned because the place needed cleaned. I scrubbed the bathroom and I dusted and I vacuumed and all that shit, wiped down shelves and put stuff away, that kind of shit, read up and cleaned. Then I did a card reading. Um, and then I decided I was going to open the gallery doors for unscheduled public hours. And before I had done that, when I was doing all the cleaning, there was all kinds of people, normal looking people walking back and forth. But then as soon as I opened the doors, there were no more normal people walking back and forth. It was all homeless people. And there was this one guy. He was wearing some sort of weird dress. Tons of layers. He's a black guy. I've seen him before. It's been a while since I've seen him. But I've seen him before. I think the last time I saw him was a couple months ago. But he's got this shower cap. He's got a knit beanie on with a shower cap over top of that, and like a flowered shower cap. Not like a do-rag or a satin bonnet. This was like a fucking shower cap, flowered grandma shower cap over top of his beanie. And then he's got he's got on a pair of like cargo pants, and it looks like he's got a pair of jeans underneath that, and his like I don't know, it looks like a few pair of socks and a pair of shoes, like big lumpy looking shoes. And then he's got this dress on, this like tricot green knit dress that has this pleated skirt on it with this big orange stripe around the bottom. It looked like maybe it was a cheerleading uniform, is what it looked like. It's what it looked like. But then he has this like beat up puff coat over top of that. And he's pushing this basket that's full of shit that's all tied up in a tarp. And he kept going back and forth, back and forth. And then there was a woman who's come in before, and I was glad she didn't come in yesterday because I really didn't feel like talking. But she kept walking back, and she'd look in the door. Like, they'd stop, all of them. They would stop, and they'd look in the door at me, and I'm like, what? What is this? What is this homeless parade now? Like, okay. It was weird. It was weird. It was. I poured myself a glass of wine and just sat there. Whatever. I wrote an article yesterday, which I need to do some amending on. Omar's right. We caught Spooky Charlie after Meekus because that's part of why Spooky Charlie trusted us, because we brought Meekus in the house and Meekus was happy. And because Meekus would go to the door and look at him from the inside after that. Yeah. We didn't catch Spooky Charlie first. We caught Spooky Charlie after. Yeah. Yeah. So I have to fix that. Because I wrote that we caught Spooky Charlie first and then Meekus, but Omar's right. It was the other way around. Meekus first. Omar would know. I mean, he remembers more stuff about the cats than he does about our fucking marriage. Right? Like, he remembers the date that all of them died. But, he could never remember our wedding anniversary. Oh, he gets me a card now, but that was like That's only in the past couple years. Now that I don't care anymore, right? The first 15 years of our marriage when I cried every year when he forgot, you know? Now it's important to him. Now it's only important to him because I don't give a shit anymore. It used to just be a control thing, you know? Yeah, I don't give a shit about our wedding. I don't give a shit about our marriage. It's, you know. It was so painful, so hurtful. Yeah, I think starting in June, I'm going to be open. I've been thinking I'm going to, not just first Fridays. I think I'll be open. I don't know. I haven't decided whether it's going to be on every Friday, just every Friday I'll be open, or first Fridays and Saturday, every Saturday. I don't know. Friday or Saturday. Saturday's probably a better day, huh? To be open, probably. Yeah. Or maybe I'll be funny and I'll just be open on Sundays. Oh. Oh. Anyway. Anyway, here I am. All the fucking news. Like, so yesterday I got an email from Jimmy Panetta about him being at Cabrillo College at 9 a.m. today to have a town hall meeting to talk about healthcare in California. Okay, Jimmy Panetta. I mean, I'd like to go talk to him. I would. But like 1 day's notice for a 9 a.m. event? Really? That's weird. Right? And besides that, like, I have had the worst health care of my life since the enactment of the ACA. I'm like, and that's what you're trying to support? You know, the shit that's happened to me in medical situations out here in California. Like, you know, I don't know what to say about all of this. I don't understand why people are upset because I haven't had health care in years. Right? I don't know. What is that about? So, and nobody did shit about that. My mother-in-law got kicked out of a nursing home under the ACA. I haven't had health care since the ACA, but people are upset that it's going away. I don't know what they're upset about. I don't know. What are you upset about? I really don't know. I it's like, I don't know. I have no idea because I haven't had a positive experience with it at all. So I don't know. I suppose if people are getting something out of it, they would be upset about it, but I haven't gotten anything out of it. So like I'm not sure. I don't have any feelings one way or the other about it. Anyway, anyway, I'm kind of angry that I've been treated the way I've been treated in medical situations over the past 10 years. Yeah, kind of like fuck you to the Democrats on that. Fuck you to the Republicans too. Like, geez, like they let me die from ectopic pregnancy, and the Democrats just want to like stick me with needles and inject me with shit left and right. Yeah, neither side. I'm not interested in either side. Anyway, yeah. take me to heart, and I'll always love you, and nobody can make me do wrong. Take me for granted, leaving love unshown, makes willpower weak and temptation strong. Woman's only human, this you should understand. She's not just your plaything, she's flesh and blood, just like a man. And if you wanna do right all day, woman, woman, you gotta be a do right all night man. Oh my God. Hey, sir. Oh, I don't know what he heard, but he heard something. He had to get going. Me too. I gotta drop a deuce.